Morning, we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to this webinar, How to Gain Marketing Insights from Your Data. I hope everyone can see the presentation on the screen. If there are any issues, please use the chat window and let us know. And also appreciate if you can go on mute so there's no disturbance in the background. Great, we'll get started. As part of Cellero's business analytics offering, we're constantly looking at exploring partnerships with leading analytics fintech solutions. I'm excited today to have Segmint present their award-winning data-driven marketing technology. Segmint offers a platform that leverages actual consumer data to help marketers understand and even anticipate the needs of their target audience via what they call key lifestyle indicators. It's pretty cool. And they help serve their members through this platform a highly relevant and personalized offering that can, at the precise moment, help the member make a informed decision in terms of a purchase. We'll be hearing from Nate Shahan, co-founder and chief operating officer of Segmint, and we'll be actually seeing a demo of the product from Ken Blacksher, vice president of business development. Next slide, please. So how does this platform like Segmint fit into Cellero's offering? From the previous webinar, you might have already seen Cellero 3.0 ecosystem vision, a vision of integrating all the foundational technology platforms into a framework that can facilitate a collaborative innovation for the credit unions. And analytics is the first piece that we actually have now developed as a solution and offer to the market. Next slide, please. So when we started with the business analytics offering, we had a clear vision. We wanted to offer a platform that provides not only just the operational reporting and the business intelligence capability, but we also want to get into diagnostic, predictive, and descriptive analytics. We want to get into the artificial intelligence, cognitive computing side of the equation. So this is really our point of view where business analytics should go. And we are actively working towards this goal. Next slide, please. So in our business analytics offering, we have a base package where we are actually providing reports and dashboards and advanced analytics to the credit union, and also the credit unions can develop their own components. And in our on-demand layer, we're actually offering our scientists, our professional services, our infrastructure for credit unions to go and try analytics on their own, and when they're ready, come on board to our platform. And the third part of the equation is the pick and pay package, where what we figured out was there's a lot of smart technology providers like Segmint out there who have mastered very niche analytics solutions. So we have built a standard framework on which you can actually bring on plug and play solutions like Segmint and get the value for your investment. Next slide, please. So as we're shaping our analytics services to the credit union, you can see there's a lot of components in our journey when we're getting to this mature state. But plug and play and embedded analytics is a key part of the equation where we want to provide value to the credit unions, not just in terms of reports and dashboards and scorecards, but in terms of solutions that can integrate straight into the analytics platform and have customer or member touch points. That's where this plug and play solutions like Segmint come into play. Next slide, please. So finally, for all the technical folks on the call, the million-dollar question of where does a solution like Segmint fit into the overall architecture of Cellero's analytics framework? I'm not going to describe our overall analytics framework. We did cover that in the previous webinars. But I want to highlight that blue area where we are basically saying since we're providing this bigger value of offering an industry standard credit union financial exchange standard based analytics platform. It's very easy to bring on package analytics app from the marketplace and plug and play and provide niche capability rather than us trying to develop those solutions from scratch. So that's where architecturally a solution like Segment would fit into the overall data integration framework that we offer today. That's a very high level walkthrough of where a solution like Segment would fit into the overall roadmap of Celero's business analytics offering. With that introduction, I would like to hand it over now to Nate Shahan, co-founder and chief operating officer of Segment, to walk us through the product. And then I would like to welcome Glenn Blackshire, vice president of business development Segment, to give us some use cases of Segment, how it's been successfully deployed at credit unions, and also a demo of the platform for all us to understand what this product's capabilities are. Over to you, Nate. Rachel, can you hear us? Sorry for the delay, folks. We're just trying to make sure our guests are based out of Ohio in US. Just make sure they can come on live. Please bear with us for a second.
Hey, can everyone hear us okay? I think we were on mute there. Do you hear us okay, Rojan?
We can. Perfect. Go ahead.
All right. Wonderful. First of all, I appreciate the lead in there and the backdrop that you gave, Rojan. That was very good. And before I get started into the materials, just want to speak on behalf of Segment about how excited we are to be aligned with Celero and part of the total complete analytics offering that you walked everyone through. And thanks for allowing us to present today, and thanks to everybody who's joined, taking a little time out of their day to join and hear a little bit about what we do and what we're about. Just to give a little more background on Segment, we've been around since 2007 and a little over 10 years, and since then our business has been 100% focused on serving financial institutions with end-to-end and robust and automated analytics and marketing platforms combined with services. And today, the latest number today, as we look at just some of the utilization of our products and services, we're helping our clients deliver nearly 25 million personalized, data-driven engagements to their members and customers every month. And that's a metric we're pretty excited about, and something that grows constantly here. Just what you see on screen is a quick view of some recent publications and coverage about Segment from some industry influencers. One of the ones that's most recent and that we're pretty excited about is kind of front and center in the top middle there from the Wall Street Journal. Recent publication that discusses how financial institutions of all types are using data, and their first-party data, to get personalized with the messages that they deliver to their members and customers. Another one to focus on here is in the middle there on the bottom row. The recent publication from Credit Union Times also references Segment in their article that describes how members are having higher expectations of their credit unions when it comes to receiving financial advice. And you can read and review all this information. Feel free to visit our site, segment.com, the news section on site. You can get more detailed information from there. So as Rojan mentioned, today's discussion, a little highlight here in agenda. We'll first go over some new customer research from part one of the 2017 Segment Consumer Bank Marketing Report. And this is an annual look at consumer attitudes and expectations related to financial institutions and their marketing technologies. And the study includes data from both credit unions and banks and was conducted online by Harris Poll earlier in the year in March, later half of March of this year. And more than 2,200 adults, ages 18 and older, were part of this survey. Next thing we're going to go over is really kind of deep dive into the easy to find and valuable data assets that you have within your institution and how to leverage those. You know, we refer to that as the gold mines in your data. What we're all about is extracting those insights and enriching that data to provide relevant information from an analytics perspective, but also actionable insights for our clients and partners. And then last, I'll turn it over to Kent on our side, and he'll walk you through a little more detailed description of our platform and how we attack this area, as well as give you a demo of what we do. So I'm pausing here for a second just to give you a moment to take a look at this quote in the big red bubble here. And as you read that, I really think it's safe to say that this speaks for itself. You know, consumers expect their institution to actively help them make better financial decisions. And unfortunately, most feel that most consumers and members feel that they are underserved in this area. This alone is one of the primary topics and themes from part one of our consumer study that we're going to go through here in more detail. And what we've seen is your members' expectations of the role you play in advising them, along with how you engage and communicate with them, is changing in a big way. This bar of expectation is being set and disrupted by every other technology we as consumers engage with on a daily basis. And it's important that the financial institutions follow suit. So here's a look at some of the findings, what we feel are some of the most relevant findings in the consumer study we took on earlier this year. What we found is 80% and 86% of millennials expect their institution to provide them with information to help them make better financial decisions. And even with such high expectations that we see out there in the market, just over a quarter of those same consumers and members feel that their institution provides them with information that will actually help them reach their personal financial goals, whether that be for life events such as paying for college or even saving for a down payment for a home. And it's really no surprise that the majority of consumers, over 50%, would rather have their institution proactively share information and offers relevant to their needs than research products and spend time doing that work on their own. They want to see those recommendations. And this information, I think, definitely represents a shift in traditional thinking when it comes to engaging members and customers. The study from which these numbers and insights were pulled from is very extensive, and it's inclusive of both credit unions and banks. And I encourage you to visit Segmint.com to pull down the entire study and reach out if there's questions or more information required. So I talked a little bit earlier, we're going to talk about the gold mine that's available in the data that you own, that you have on site, on premise, or within your solutions today. It's rather common for institutions to look outward to procure other data and market insights to support various functions and needs, not only on marketing, but other areas within the institution. However, what we've learned in the history of our company is that there is incredible value and a wealth of intelligence in the first-party data assets that forward-thinking financial institutions today are leveraging to address several in-market use cases like onboarding, engagement personalization, financial wellness, competitive insights, and more. These are some common themes we see for how our clients and customers are leveraging their data to get better at. And we find that the following data assets really provide the most benefit and value to the institution. I'd like to start out with the account and service holding data. which is commonly used for situations like ensuring that offers are not made for products that members already have from the institution, or that same kind of data is also used to encourage members and customers to utilize more of a product, like a credit card or HELOC. Bill pay and ACH transaction data reveals the kind of banking your customers are doing outside of your institution. It gives you that competitive insights and provides a guide for the types of products that you should and could offer your existing members to gain a greater share of their wallet and win more of that wallet against your competitors.
I can't take your call right now, but if
Hey, Rojan, can everyone still hear me okay? We had a little
We can.
cut
We had
in
a
there.
little background chat. I request everybody to go on mute, please. Go ahead, Nate.
Sure. The other type of data that we find is very, very insightful is what we call digital engagement data, or it's really information about how your members are engaging and their behaviors on the channels that you expose to them. For instance, data from your website and other public-facing web properties that you offer reveal what customers and prospects are shopping for at this given moment. And knowing what they intend to purchase is very critical to delivering timely and relevant offers. And finally, a big one for us is looking at that credit and debit, looking at debit and credit transactions. We think these go a long way in personalizing the engagements you have with your members. This data reveals the why somebody is actually shopping or in market for a product that you offer. And to give you an example of that, through a look at transactions, we're able to tell, for example, that one couple may need a second mortgage for a home improvement project or making additions to their home, while the same product could be required by another customer to help them pay for college expenses for their children. It's a deep look into transactional data that helps us pull these insights so you can have an informed conversation that really relates to the lifestyle and where your customers are at and why they may be looking for certain products. So let's take a look specifically at an onboarding use case. Again, we have several engagement campaigns in market. Some of those are very focused on onboarding, but we have several use cases that we help our customers engage with their customers and members on a daily basis. A popular one is onboarding. And what we find is that many of our financial institution partners struggle with graduating their members through a product and service adoption life cycle once they finally acquire and win that relationship. And what happens is this results in loss and churn that could have been avoided with an intelligent, data-driven engagement strategy that is solely focused on transitioning members through an onboarding life cycle and greater adoption of services and attributes and functions of the product they just acquired. So let's just take a look at a simple example of onboarding a customer through once they've acquired a checking account, right? That member, you've just won that relationship, you've acquired that checking account, but it doesn't end there, right? You need to put a strategy in place that starts to graduate that member through adoption of other services and features and capabilities of that checking account, so they begin to transition to use your checking account as their primary checking account of record. So what you would want to do is once that relationship is acquired with that member, you want to start delivering messages to them in an automated way as they engage with you on the channels that you offer to encourage them to do things like sign up for online banking or mobile banking. Next step you'd want to look at is to try to figure out how do you encourage them and communicate the benefits to them of maybe setting up their direct deposits through their employers, et cetera, to start a regular procedure around regular deposits from things like paychecks, et cetera. Once that is set up, you've acquired a more sticky personal relationship with that customer that would imply that they're going to use this DDA or checking account as their primary checking account of record. Next step is, hey, use the other services which benefit the institution, benefit you as a credit union, things like credit card or debit card swipes and utilization, make sure you're messaging to that member about the benefits, potential rewards, or benefits that they gain through utilizing their debit card over some other card in their wallet. And then finally, you want them to sign up for bill pay, right? You need to continually message to your customers about the benefits of your bill pay solution. And once they've signed up for bill pay, again, that's another indicator that that's the primary checking account of record for that member. So too often, we see institutions failing to leverage their data and channels to automatically and succinctly remind members about the benefits and rewards of utilizing the extended products and services available to those accounts that you just acquired them through on. And that's really where what Segmint is all about, is we set up very automated processes that listen to the data, listen to your members' activity, we listen to the channels that they engage on, and in this case, onboard them effectively to a deeper relationship once you've acquired them. So at this point, I'll go ahead and turn it over to my friend here, Kent, to take you over a little more detail about our solution specifically.
Thanks, Nate. I appreciate it. That's a perfect segue into what it is that Segmint does and how we do what we do. Essentially, what you're looking at is a screen titled Bridging the Gap Between Marketing and Technology, and that's really where we shine. We talk to institutions of all sizes, and one of the pressing concerns these organizations have is finding their data, making their data actionable, but also communicating between the marketing team who's trying to have those relevant discussions with their members and the IT team or the technology team who may be in the ones holding the data or having the access to the data. So we have a platform that allows you to do everything with one simple solution. And the first part of that on the left you see is the securely activates anonymous data indicator there. It's important to note that when we talk about the sources of data that Nate was just referencing and that I'll cover in a little bit more detail, we're doing this with no personally identifiable information. We're not absorbing or ingesting account numbers, names, email addresses, phone numbers, things like that. There's no PII affiliated with the data that we take either in a nightly feed or multiple times throughout the day or up to just in time as it pertains to the speed at which we're taking the data from your systems. The next thing you see to the right of that is the real-time predictive customer analytics. The KLIs that we were talking about that Roshan mentioned and Nate mentioned, the key lifestyle indicators. Our taxonomy currently has hundreds of thousands of KLIs and currently growing that can be assigned to each and every one of your members. Now, a reminder, we don't know who your member is. They're assigned a unique customer identification code. So we wouldn't know John Smith 123 Main Street. We would, however, know a unique identifier to that individual. So these KLIs can be assigned to people like that at a one-to-one basis at the individual level, and they can be everything from what products they have with your institution to how they're living their lives, what type of transactions they're making. Are they a golfer? Are they a coffee drinker? So forth and so on. And you'll see a lot more about that. But the KLIs, the key lifestyle indicators, are really metadata tags that allow the Segmint One platform to deliver messages in an omni-channel environment in a predictive fashion. So no longer are you sending out messages in a blanket or saturation model hoping that individuals that meet the criteria you're looking for see the message and you hope they respond. The system is now delivering messages to individuals in the channels they engage with about products that are relevant to them or behavior changing messages that are important to their lifestyle. So that's what the system does. It activates the data, assigns real-time KLIs, key lifestyle indicators, and helps you deliver messages in a relevant channel at a relevant time to individual members about what they need. But it doesn't end there. Since the system is delivering these messages in all of these channels, be it online, mobile, ATM, teller, a variety of different areas we can explore, the system is also watching to see how those messages respond, how they resonate. So the system gives you full interaction reporting, full attribution reporting, how many impressions are going out, how many products are being opened because of your efforts, and more specifically, what's the tangible ROI? What are the face and economic values of those products being opened? So for a lot of our credit unions that we work with, this is the first time they've actually been able to justify and quantify their marketing efforts. A little bit more now you're seeing on your screen about the type of data that Nate was referencing. On the left, you see a variety of data sources the Segment One platform can ingest from. I paused there briefly just to highlight that we do not have to have all of those sources of data. By all means, that's not the case. Nate did a great job showcasing some of the areas we focus on. But just to let you know the width and breadth of the system, these are the sources of data we could ingest. Obviously, your transactions, your product data, online banking and ACH are critical and where we have a lot of fun. But we can also ingest from other sources, other silos of data you may have sitting out there, such as call center notes or existing segmentation or modeling that your organization's already done. We can ingest that, and it only makes the system that much smarter. But if you have CRM or survey or promotional data, if you're subscribing to clickstreams or behavioral data, we can ingest that as well. So you see a variety of different sources that we can ingest from. But you see that no personally identifiable info arrows indicating that the data is ingested. We assign the real-time triggers that I mentioned, the key lifestyle indicators, and then we can deliver to all of the channels that you see on the right. And it's important, again, to note, and this will come to life when we get into the environment, that these messages are delivered on a one-to-one basis. There's no more blanketing messaging hoping you find the right individuals. You're now delivering them their messages that are relevant to their lifestyles based on the way they're interacting with your institution and the way they're living their lives and the buying power that they have in all of these channels you see on the right. So delivering messages to your public and private websites on a one-to-one basis out on the open internet, which we can talk about a little bit in more detail later, to assisted channels like direct mail and email and mobile, as well as delivering to teller and to the branch level and call centers, and you see ATM and email as well. So a variety of different channels, truly a full omni-channel environment with, as you'll see on the bottom, our always-on technology allows you to have complete monetization and ROI reporting. We close the loop with our campaign management solution that lets you see just how these campaigns are performing, who's opening, the products or services you're promoting, and what's the value to your institution. So I mentioned briefly always on, and that's one of the things we want to talk about. And the always on technology inherent in the Segment One platform really allows you to compress the time from ingesting that data to actually engaging your customers. It can now be a seamless, almost real-time thing that is now a fun part of your daily activity, is seeing how your members are interacting with the campaigns you're putting together and the true results you're seeing. So traditionally, credit unions have tried to flight campaigns via whatever channel they may be using. Maybe it's digital, maybe it's traditional media, but they've done so in a manner where they've explored things like prior year comps or seasonality, or we push a particular product or service in a normal time frame just because that's when it always has worked. I always use the reference of mortgages. We push mortgages in spring and fall because that's when people are in the market for new homes. Well, that's great, but what that does then is eliminates hitting individuals who may be in the market for that product or service at different times throughout the year. The Segment platform allows you to have always-on campaigns for all of your products, services, and strategic initiatives that are ready to go and deliver messages to the right individual at the right time. You can set these campaigns one time and really then just watch as people come in and out of a campaign organically just by the way they're living their lives and interacting with you. So for instance, if someone is a candidate for an auto loan, your team no longer has to go out and seek that auto loan individual. They don't have to pull data from the IT department. They don't have to scrub lists and find people who may be a candidate for an auto loan. Instead, the system, based upon a historic load of data as well as the transactions we're seeing, will indicate that user X1234 has had a recent history and an increased frequency of auto-related issues, as well as they haven't had an auto loan payment in quite some time. So now it may be a perfect time to talk to them about why they may want an auto loan with your credit union. So the system would assign that auto loan candidate KLI to that individual without your team having to lift a finger, will now serve messages to that individual, and for a predetermined amount of time, watch to see if that individual converts or opens that auto loan with your institution. And beautifully, when they do, the system will also mark them as closed. They've opened that account, they've converted, they're no longer a candidate for that product or service, so automatically the system will remove them from receiving subsequent, no longer relevant messaging for an auto loan in any of the channels they've been receiving that message. So just to recap, people come in and out of these campaigns now in a completely organic fashion. You're able to reap the benefits and see who's opening and see the rewards from your efforts, but you no longer have to sit there and push and pull data and hope that people are seeing the messages. What I'm going to do now is get into the actual environment where you can see what the system actually looks like. And what's great about our system and what you're looking at now is what we call our KLI Discovery View. It is a 360-degree view of what your customers actually look like as it pertains to their KLI makeup. So this particular institution has a large population base, 1.3 million members. But as you can see from the color legend on the right side of your screen, I can start drifting over, and I'll go slow just to make sure to allow for the WebEx refresh rate. As I start drifting over, I see what percentage of my audience has a particular KLI. And I can click anywhere along this pathway to get more granularity. So for instance, I'm in consumer checking right now. If I go further, I can see who's got what type of, say, a gold checking account, or I can see who's got a particular type of credit card, or I can get into things like consumer savings accounts, and I can go very granular here. I can see not just what type of savings accounts individuals have, but I can see the specific type of savings account they have. So what we're seeing here is obviously a product set, who's got what products with your institution. So if I wanted to market to these individuals at a particular area, great, there's my Passbook savings account members, I want to market to them. I absolutely could. It's important to note, though, that this taxonomy will be customized to your particular product set. So if your credit union has 10 different types of consumer savings accounts, you're going to see 10 types of consumer savings accounts listed here. But that's all fine and dandy, right, if I want to send messages to individuals based upon the products they have with my institution. But the data that we ingest each and every day from your walls allows us to go much deeper, much more granular than that. For instance, I can get into things like behavior indicators, or I can get into product utilization. So if I click on, say, debit card usage, now instead of sending a debit card message to everyone who's got a debit card with my institution, in this example, 400,000 individuals, I can now version all within one campaign. I can go and deliver messages to those individuals who have a debit card but are not swiping it. So there's 150,000 members here who have that product but aren't utilizing it. They can receive one type of message, whereas these individuals over here, or perhaps these individuals over here who have the debit card and are swiping it very frequently, can now automatically, without your team having to lift a finger, receive messaging that incites more frequent use or rewards them for loyalty, or perhaps they're candidates for a new type of product or service that you want to offer to them. But you can see that just basically how they're interacting with a product or service can determine what type of message they receive. Now, to go back to the overarching view, I click the center, and it brings me back to the beginning. Other visualization tools we have in this platform are also around the competitive information. When you think of the type of data that Nate was talking about earlier, we're going to see a variety of competitive information. So, for instance, I can see who's got a competitive credit card, or who's paying a payment to a competitive institution. I can see down to the issuer level, down to who's got a particular, say, key credit card, or who's making an auto loan payment to Ford Credit, or who's making a payment to another institution. And anywhere along this pathway, I can find these individuals and deliver messaging to them. So these 4,300 individuals who are financing an auto loan with Ford Motor Credit, I can now market to them about ways they may want to come talk to our credit union about our rates, or our aggressive lower rates, as well as our high customer service value. So the point is you can really start to glean information from your data that makes it relevant and can help you gain share of wallet. Finally, one other thing I want to show is the consumer spend information. I can see down to the transaction level where individuals are swiping. I can see what type of activities and interests individuals have, down to where they're actually shopping. So right now I'm over in Home and Garden, and I can go down to see where they're actually making their purchases. There's 84,000 home improvement enthusiasts who are swiping cards at Lowe's. So you can see power inherent in the system down to transaction levels. You can see the individuals who are have a particular phone provider or make purchases of a particular type of fuel. We also have predictive indicators available off of the shelf for a variety of products or services. You can see who is a candidate for any particular product or service automatically populated with our models filled in with your data. So we can see who is a candidate for a CD. We can see who is a candidate for, say, a mortgage or a money market account, or who is a savings account candidate. All of that is available within the system, and I'll show you next how you can actually make the rubber meet the road, so to speak, by setting up campaigns in an always-on state to deliver relevant messaging to individuals. So I'm going to go to the campaign portion right now, and what you'll see on your screen is all of the campaigns this particular institution has currently running. On your left, you see the name of the campaign. The second column is the goal of the campaign. So essentially, what is the system going to watch for conversion or attribution reporting? Typically, it's to open that product or service, right? We see the start date of the particular campaign, and we see the end date, which is listed as always on. As I mentioned before, since you're not wasting any ad spend, you're not delivering messages to individuals who are not relevant to that campaign, most of our campaigns sit there in an always on state. Now, if you have a limited time seasonality or APR, by all means, you can toggle an end date, and I'll show you how we do that. And it is as simple as clicking Add Campaign to create a new campaign, but in the interest of time, I'll just jump into an existing campaign and show you the same steps. So I'm going to jump into a home equity line of credit campaign. Now what you see here is, this is where I would select the goal from the drop-down menu. All of my products and services will be in the system, and I can bring them down from a drop-down. I can also name the campaign whatever I'd like to name it. I see the start date of this campaign, and here I see the always on indicator. I can toggle that, and I could absolutely set up an end date if I needed to. But as I mentioned, since you're not wasting any ad spend, more often than not, we leave it in an always on environment. But now I'm going to go to audience, and what you're looking at here is the exact same data we were just looking at in that visual KLI discovery tool. But now everything is in a linear tree structure. So if I go to, say, products, consumer checking, I can see the same type of checking accounts. I can see the same type of consumer savings accounts, all available here. Or if I go to competitive, I can see who's got a competitive credit card down to the issuer level, right? Or consumer spend, where are my individuals dining, down to the brand level. It's all here, and anywhere along these pathways, I just click the circle next to them to bring that audience down to the equation that I'm creating for this campaign. Now, as I scroll down, I see the audience that this institution currently has created for this home equity line of credit campaign. And it's a simple and or taxonomy. It reads just like it says. They've included customers who have a competitive mortgage or a first mortgage, but you can see they've also excluded customers who currently have a second mortgage or a line of credit. But more importantly than that, now you see a revised wheel over here, a revised KLI discovery view of a new population. That 1.3 million members is now down to a more rifled 51,000. And I see a cross-section of what all of these individuals have in common. So once I've created my audience, and that's as narrow as I'd like it or as fine-tuned as I'd like it, I can save this equation, I can name it, I can share it with other campaigns in the system, or I can just save it to come back to adjust later. But it is and I hate this term, but I'll use it, a living, breathing thing. This equation is set, but people, as I mentioned earlier with that example, will now come in and out of this audience or this campaign based upon the way they're living their lives and how they're interacting. So that population may adjust slightly each and every day as data is refreshed. But once I've got the audience where I like it, it's a matter now of selecting the channels. Where do I want to deliver this message? And you see a variety of channels available right here that you can deliver to e-statements, your public and private websites, out on the open internet. I'm going to pause here for a second because that's very important. We are bolted on to the real-time bidding network. So if you're familiar with that, if you're not rather, I'm going to walk you through briefly what that looks like. At a high level, as it stands now, credit unions and other financial institutions, when they're buying media, are buying millions of impressions out on networks, hoping that individuals that meet their criteria are seeing those messages. Our system allows you to buy media in real time on a one-to-one basis. You're no longer hoping the right person has seen the message, but as someone like I'll pick on Nate, who's sitting next to me, as Nate, who we know as unique user X347, goes to ESPN to see how his beloved Cleveland Indians are doing, ESPN pings the real-time bidding networks, which we're bolted onto, and says, does anybody want to serve a message to this individual? We know it's that unique user. We know that unique user is a candidate for a particular product or service. We bid on that inventory and deliver that message just to Nate or X2347 as that page loads. So no more buying millions of impressions. We're truly delivering that message just to him as that page loads. So that's the open internet channel. We can deliver to mobile banking, to online banking, sales management, teller, a variety of different channels we can deliver to. Anywhere where you see a number affiliated above it, that means they have media affiliated with that campaign. So I'll jump to one that has one. I'm going to go to the open internet, and now I'll see the actual creative that they've got uploaded for this campaign, for the messaging that they're going to deliver. Now it's as simple as clicking the Add Media button to upload more creative, but I can see, and by clicking on this, I can see what type of messages are ready to go out within this campaign. And as I mentioned with that debit card example earlier, you can have as many different versions of creative ready to go. So I see a variety of different creative here, some about growing your home because of children or your family's growing, those ones for building an outdoor oasis. But you may ask, who's going to get which message? So if I pick this particular one for the outdoor enthusiast, it looks like, and I click on that, I can go down to show you how we micro-target. If I click on media personalization, it's going to bring me back to the audience I previously created. You see grayed out now the base KLI I had seen previously selected in this campaign. But now there's one more, the outdoor person or outdoor enthusiast KLI is assigned to this campaign for that version of the message. So if any one of these gray triggers indicates they're a candidate and we see the presence of this outdoor person KLI, they're going to receive that message versus one of the others. And you see it's a much more rifled population, much more targeted. So I just wanted to highlight that quickly, that you have the ability to have multiple versions of creative within a campaign, but different KLI structures would determine who gets which message. So for this particular channel, then I would click delivery once everything looks good. On the open internet channel, I can control and throttle a variety of different factors right from here, including my overall budget, my daily burn. I can get into bid and frequency and things like that. I can control all of that from here. Or your account manager who's assigned to work with you can handle that for you. You don't have to do that. But assuming everything looks good, it's a matter of hitting confirm, and that campaign is live. It is that easy to create a very targeted, rifled campaign with your data that will consistently evolve around how customers are interacting with your institution, how your members are utilizing your products and services, and what's relevant to them. The final thing I want to show you from the actual environment before we get to some results are the reporting functionalities. You see a variety of different report tabs available up here. We have influence, which are essentially conversions, members that we have influenced to open another product or service, right? We have the ability to look at the actual number of impressions or messages that are going out, as well as the efficiency of those messages. I'm going to jump into, I'll pull a custom start date and influence report. I'll just go back a few months. I'll say beginning of the year, and what we'll do is run a report here just to see how these campaigns have been performing. So now these reports are exportable. You can print them. You can bring them to your board meetings or your sales meetings. But what you can see here now, and I'll go into this very granularly in a second, are how the actual campaigns are performing. This is what I was talking about earlier on when we were sharing some slides. Now, for perhaps the first time ever, credit unions can actually see their efforts being justified as it pertains to customized one-to-one marketing. So on the left, I see the particular goal that we're referring to. So I'll start with auto loans. That's the name of the campaign. I can get very granular and get into what specific quarterly, how the results are going, but in the interest of time, I'll keep it at a higher level. But I see the auto loan campaign. I see the influence window. The credit union here determines, hey, for the first moment someone has served a message, I'm going to watch for however many days, say 120, say something like that. Typically on a loan, it's 120 to 90 days, whereas something like signing up for e-statements or a credit card may only be 30 or 60, but that's driven by the particular institution we're working with. So that's how long they'll watch to see if someone converts after seeing a particular message. But then we get to the very important figures. I can see the number of customers who have been influenced. These are individuals who have received targeted messaging from this campaign and opened that product or service. And then of those 30 loans that have been opened in this time frame, I can see both the face value and the economic value. The face value is the overall value of those products, of those 30 loans. But the economic value is something based on figures from the credit union. We break out the economic value, the first year value of those products or services. We actually show you what's the first year value so you can get true tangible ROI. You may say that, hey, we've spent $10,000 or $8,000 so far in our auto loan campaign, but just in first year value, we've already reaped $23,000 back. Same thing when you look at mortgages. You would know better than I do how long the first mortgage life expectancy is, but we break out a first year value. You're going to reap the benefits of that loan or that product for the life of that product, but it's important from an ROI standpoint, you get a true, tangible, year-to-year, apples-to-apples comparison. So that's what I wanted to show you from the environment. I also want to walk you through some case study results to show you what we're seeing in market as our solution's been in play for a while. We can walk you through a little bit more about our platform and our options. First and foremost, we have the ability just to get into data and insights. If you just want to use the platform to get a better feel for what your members are doing, we can help you analyze your data with a visual tool like you just saw, that KLI Discovery View. You get a good feel of what your members are doing and how you may best message them or relate to them. Or we have the entire solution that you just saw, the analytics and the end-to-end platform, which is that same data analytics with predictive tools that we just showed you, and the ability to get into campaign management, multi-channel delivery, and with that campaign reporting. So we have a kind of a variety of ways to interact with Segmint. But let me show you a little bit about the type of results we're seeing in market, and I want to make sure I leave some time for questions and answers. So what you're looking at now is this particular institution started some cross-sell messages to their customers, to their members on their public website, on their online banking site, as well as on the open internet. And over 18 months, you can see the 26 KLI targeted campaigns they utilized. You can see the results on the bottom, and we will send this out, and this will be available to everyone who's on this webinar today, so you can dive into it a little bit deeper. But you can see the number of KLI targeted impressions delivered, 11 million impressions delivered. But more importantly than that, you can see the actual product conversions from those efforts. They opened 3,100 products for a face value of $111 million. But then look at that impression to efficiency rate. They're closing one product for every 3,600 impressions that are being delivered, which is very, very strong. We'll take that challenge versus any sort of traditional digital media any day of the week. We're very proud of that. But we can go a little deeper into that. Let's look at their HELOC utilization campaign results. One of the campaigns they focused on was people who had a home equity line of credit but hadn't really utilized those funds yet. So you can see we were able to deliver 71,000 targeted impressions just to those individuals who meet the criteria I just mentioned. They have the HELOC but weren't utilizing it. You can see the number of customers we engaged, but then you can see the lines that were withdrawn. And more importantly, look at that face value that was generated, and look at the impression efficiency ratio there as well. So we're seeing a very large conversion rate, 30% you see in the lower right, all because we're now fishing where the fish are, if you want to use that old adage. We're now delivering messages only to the individuals who are relevant and in a timely fashion. We're actually proactively reaching these individuals, not a responsive measure. This isn't retargeting. This isn't, hey, these individuals have already been searching for this information. This is the system knowing ahead of time that they have this product or they're a candidate for a particular product, and we're delivering messaging ahead of time. One of the things I talked about a little bit ago was the open internet. Look at the campaign lift one of our institutions got just from April to October when they toggled on that open internet channel, that true one-to-one messaging out on the open internet. Look at that lift. They saw almost 400% increase in cross-sell conversions by adding that channel, and 73% of their sales were influenced by the open internet. Essentially, they could engage with customers up to 5 times more than their own properties. So if you're just putting those messages in the properties you own and you're not actively in a predictive fashion finding those individuals out on the open internet, there's a big piece of the pie out there that you can utilize, and we can help you reach that. Here's some more details in and around the second mortgage campaign, also out on the open internet. You see their investment in the 180-day period that they had, but look at the product openings. 131 product openings in 181 days. And look at that face value. I mean, talk about ROI and being able to justify the spend and the importance of micro-targeting. Now, in the interest of time, I see we've got a handful of minutes left. I wanted to make sure we were able to open the lines to any questions for either myself or Nate or Rojan. Feel free to unmute and fire away, and let's see how we can help you today.
There was a question from Andy. Andy, if you can unmute and ask a question. Okay, I think Andy, his microphone is not working, so I'll ask on his behalf. So a question from Andy McDougall was, are the influence days presented based on real experience, or are they a plug for the demonstration purpose only? Did you hear it?
Okay, so can you clarify the question for us, Rojan? We're on mute. Yeah.
Oh, no problem. The question was, are the influence days presented today based on a real experience, or are they a plug for the demonstration purpose only? So, the influence day that you showed, whether that was real or that was just for the demo.
So the demo was a demo institution, right? So that is demo data that we are showing there. However, the influence dates that we identify with our clients and the look back window in which we will see a change in behavior or an account opening, we will look back in a certain period of time based on that product type or service type. To once we see that product open, we'll look back, let's say if it's a loan, 120 days, right, for a mortgage loan, for instance, to identify automatically if targeted personalized messaging was delivered to that member who just opened that product that we saw through the stream of data. Did we deliver a personalized message about that mortgage to that member within that last 120 days or that look back window in history to determine if there's a correlation between the message served or the engagement and the account opening, and we automatically correlate that and show that information in our reporting. That look back window is configurable and customizable at a customer level basis or client level basis. So those windows can vary and change just based off of the product and service openings and offers available.
I mean, in other words, that influence day, that data will change depending on the behavior of the consumers within the credit union, correct? And it will be totally different for every demography and every credit union.
Yeah, it can be unique for every institution leveraging the platform, and oftentimes is determined based on the type of product or service we're helping them engage their members with, right? So things like e-statements, trying to get conversion to e-statements may just be, we'll do a 30-day look back, right, to see if the messaging was served in the last 30 days, where something, it takes a little longer to close, right, at the credit union from a product perspective, like a loan, we may look back longer, right? And we work with the institution, the credit union directly to determine those settings.
Perfect. So there's another question. Are the Segment servers located in the US, or would Celero be able to host this product in Canada? So you can actually start your response, Nate, and I'll jump in at the appropriate time.
Sure. Yeah, the entire offering that you've seen here would be exposed to you and hosted in the borders of Canada. We are going to integrate and install our platform within Celero data centers, and that's the marketing and analytics. That's the analytics platform I'm speaking of. And then we also have cloud instances available where we can host the solution in Amazon data centers that are within Canada as well. So lots of flexibility there. But it would all be maintained in Canada. Yeah.
Right. So I was supposed to bring this at the very end. So currently, Celero is actively looking at forging a partnership with Segment to kind of take proof of concept for the credit unions. And within the proof of concept, as you might recall, both Nate and Ken talking about there are two capabilities in the platform. One is actually discovering that lifestyle indicator, and the other is, should you choose, you can actually reach out to them through those channels for campaigns. So in the proof of concept, we're strictly trying to focus on the analytics aspect, so you can get a list of members or personalized sort of marketing campaigns you may want to go after with. And that's all going to be in our data center within the Canadian boundaries. And even in the long run, our strategy is to have the analytics part in our data center within Celero. And if the credit unions want to leverage the marketing channels, then we can definitely have that also, as Nate said, in Amazon Canada. So there's another question here. Is there any way to reference back to actual members so we can prepare a list of calling campaigns versus digital campaigns?
You want me to take that, Rojan?
Sorry, the question was, within the platform, is there any way to reference back to our actual members so we can prepare a list for calling campaigns versus digital campaigns? I think you can talk about the PI piece, and then I'll take on the how we will support that. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, absolutely. As Kent mentioned earlier in the demonstration, all the data we receive is free of PII, and with our relationship with Celero is they're actually preparing the data for us to ingest and removing that PII, but tokenizing each customer with a unique ID for us. That's where we're leveraging that data to create key lifestyle indicators. Those key lifestyle indicators are what you're leveraging to create those target audiences, as we demonstrated within the live demo. Now, if you want to utilize that list for direct outreach to your members, we will take that tokenized list through our integration with Celero. They will de-tokenize. They will take that PII and apply it back to that list before it gets presented back to you, so you have a fully vetted and detailed list, not only of the target audience, but the PII information you would need to engage those customers via phone, email, or whatever channel or approach you decide to use.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. So Shannon, that that buffer of sort of anonymizing the actual member identity before we provide the data to Segment, and putting it back together before we give it to the credit union, we act as that buffer. So we make sure within the PCI compliance regulations. The member anonymization happens when we push the data out and then put the right member identification back. So within the proof of concept, as I said, we're only going to look at just providing the reporting capability. So we're looking at 2 to 3 credit unions who should who should they choose to be part of the POC. We will provide them with a list of here are the members, here are the lifestyle, here are the typical things we think would be the right campaign for them, kind of information to the credit unions. The next question was, does the tool track a contact history of members who have been contacted to reduce contact fatigue? So, I think your opening slide.
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. So we keep a running log, at least a daily log, not only of who we contacted with messaging, but also the channel in which we delivered that messaging to, as well as the reason why we delivered that message to that member based on their mix of key lifestyle indicators that made them candidates or part of the audience in which we were targeting, right? So we maintain a complete log of that information. The reason why we do that is because we look at that information at the real-time decision of delivery to that member to determine things like pacing or oversaturation of certain messaging. That's why we maintain that log. And that log of information is also great from an auditing perspective, right? So we talk about responsible marketing, and you want to ensure that you're delivering fair and equal opportunity of product and service opportunities to your members and prospects, right? We maintain that log of information and can supply it back to you should you need that information for other purposes in the institution.
All right, thanks. I'm just cognizant of the time here. If there are any additional questions, please send it my way, rogenir@celero.ca, or you can contact your account execs. Thank you, Nate and Ken, for those wonderful insights, and really appreciate all the folks who attended. Some great questions. We'll take on additional questions and get back to you. As we move into the partnership and the proof of concept stage, we will be sending up more communications, and if you're interested, we'll be happy to talk to you offline. Other than that, once again, thanks everyone for joining us today. Have a great day, and we will keep communicating regarding the progress of this partnership. Thanks, everyone.